Yes?
Good evening. I'm Rebecca O'Hare. I'm a Margaret Marian, like a lot of folks here. I go every week to Whole Foods Market to get my weekly supply of kefir, tofu, Brussels sprouts, and compostable garbage bags. And with that particular social milieu, you enter the store, and lately I have been greeted with, "Hi, do you have a moment to discuss equality in California?" And you're often assaulted with goodness. And it bugs me because I don't have any ammo for that. I think back to a time, early 90s, a friend of mine sent me an invitation to her wedding. She was marrying an African-American lesbian Wiccan, and I was invited. And I was thrown back on my own resources, which were nil. And I said, "You know, Cynthia, I want you to be happy. I'm going to pass on this one. I need some ammo to deal with the goodness in life that faces me every week when I go to get my kefir."
Okay, now this, she was just talking about the aggressiveness, and you know, there's so many people out signing people up and trying to convince people with, you know, very gracious and you know, to support same-sex marriage. Now, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but our purpose is not to engage, because our purpose, our goal, is to find and talk with all the people who already agree with us. Why? Because we know that the majority of people already agree with us. We passed Prop 8, didn't we? Yeah. The problem is the majority of people don't know how to talk about marriage, and they're not organized. So we've got to set priorities. So what we tell our folks is, while we're engaging someone who's against, 10 people walk by, or maybe more, that are for, that understand and are supportive of marriage between a man and a woman. So we don't want to engage. Now we provide people with ways of dealing with the questions that come up and arguments that come up and things of that sort, but that's not our priority. Our priority is to just talk to people who agree with us. Now that doesn't make any sense, does it? We need to bring all of these folks into formation and organization, and we're setting up county chairs in every county in the state, one for every 5 parishes. This is going to be expanded to Protestant churches and other organizations, secular organizations, a big coalition standing with the common interest that every child has in the marriage of their mother and father, to promote the centrality and integrity of marriage, the family. So I know it bothers you, and it really hits us that, wow, look at what they're doing. They're so active. They're here. They're there. Whatever. The only response is to get active yourself and to bring other people into the movement. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Doug Zeitz, I've sent some emails to you before. You've commented on some of the letters I've written. A lot swirling around in my head on all of this.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is, I think, that the general public that agrees with us doesn't understand the threat of the organization and the energy and the demonic will, if you will, of the side that wants to destroy the family. They don't understand that, you know, ultimately that it's the devil that's out there trying to destroy the family, so they don't really see the threat. Everybody does agree with us, but they don't understand the threat. The homosexual agenda isn't just so they can do their thing and be left alone. They want us to accept, and not just accept, but elevate, you know, what they've got going on, and redefine the whole thing, turn it upside down.
Right.
So it is very hard to bring people to the realization that that's what's going on, and that's where it takes leadership. Now, fortunately, here in this diocese, we have a bishop that's a leader on this issue, and it's been demonstrated. But On the other hand, what you have, you've got the situation with the valedictorian there at Bishop O'Dowd. I mean, something has gone terribly wrong to where that would be tolerated. I'm reminded, and so what parents are trying to do is to witness and model to their children as to what a mother and a father are supposed to be doing. And I'm reminded of that old John Wayne movie, The Quiet Man, where the one fella says to the Ward Bond who's playing the priest, he said, even Father Lonigan has a mother. And Ward Bond responds and says, but of course. So, I mean, that has to be our attitude.
Well, let me respond. There's a lot packed into there. You know, the question was, people don't appreciate the threat and the agenda and all this kind of stuff. True. But what's even more important is they don't understand the threat of the culture right in their own family and the corrosive effect that's going on now. If we're focused on them, we're not focused on what's going on at home. Right. And the problem, what we're finding is that the culture has so influenced all of us, we unwittingly, we were down in Bakersfield a few weeks ago with the training, and we were getting some reaction after the training, and there was a person in the last year of his diaconate formation program, a 7.5 year formation program they have in the Diocese of Fresno, and he said, I was amazed because what I learned today is sometimes the things I say conflict with what I believe. And we have got to help make people aware of that. And you know, if we keep focusing on how awful it is and don't do something, you know, we're part of the problem. You know, we've got to get our minds off of what they're doing and focus on building our movement. Because they've been organizing, they've got their infrastructure, they've been training for years and years and years. You know, rather than, you know, complaining about the clubs they have in schools, we need to start clubs in schools. Yes. We're already talking with a major university about our first club on a university campus. And we have a faculty advisor already. This is going on the offense. Going on the offense is not focusing on what our opponents is doing, because that's defense. We have to change the way we think about this. Okay, another question. Yes.
You just said about the funds on college. So what that decision about we'll have exactly clear. There was one organization.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Hastings, yeah.
How did that fund?
It won't, because this is secular. This is secular. Anybody can join. I mean, this is educational. This is educational and formational. We've got to start addressing the. You know, there's so much to go into, so much to learn. But one of the things you'll learn in the trainings is one of the factors that influences our behavior is how we see ourselves. Whether we see ourselves with the Christian understanding of the human person made in the image and likeness of God, made for relationship, made for interdependence, made for love, or do we see ourselves in a secular way that everything is material? Our value comes from what we have, our ability and our success and things of that sort. One leads to love and happiness, the other makes love impossible. We've got to start understanding these things about ourselves. And you know, like the old book Pogo. I mean, we got to go in, you know, charging into battle here. And as we do that, you know, the enemy may be ourselves, or at least part of the problem.